All right, we are in the second book of Jeremiah, chapter 23, verse 35. It says, "Woe unto the pastors that destroy and scatter the sheep of my pasture." It saith Yahweh, it says, "Therefore thus saith Yahweh, the Lord God of Israel, against the pastors that feed my people. You have scattered my flock and driven them away, and have not visited them. Behold, I will visit upon you the evil of your doings, saith Yahweh, and I will gather the remnant of my flock out of all the countries whither I have driven, and will bring them again to their folds, and they shall be a fruitful and increase. And I will set up shepherds over them, which shall feed them, and they shall fear no more, nor be dismayed, neither shall they be lacking, saith Yahweh. Behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, that I will raise unto David a righteous branch, and a king shall reign and prosper, and shall execute judgment and justice in the earth. And in his days Judah shall be saved, and Israel shall dwell safely. And this is his name whereby he shall be called Yahweh our righteousness. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, that they shall no more say, The Lord liveth, which brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. But the Lord liveth, which brought up and which led the seed of the house of Israel out of the north country, and from all countries whither I have driven them, and they shall dwell in their own land. Call on Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai Ba'ashem Rakakwadash, giving all praises to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, the God of Gods, the King of Terrors, the King of Spirits, the Lord of Armies, the Lord of War. Much love to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. All praises to the Almighty. Much love to His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, the Adonai, the Hamashiach, the light of this world, the one who poured His blood over the children of Israel to get them into the new covenant, and the only nation that's granted for salvation. Much love to the elect, the chosen ones among Israel. All of you, whoever may be the elect, wherever you may be at. Sorry. Much love to the beautiful new covenant prophets that preach the truth, that's on the highways and byways doing the work. They on the internet, YouTube, breaking down these Bible precepts, doing everything in their power to help us and to get us inside the new covenant where there's peace, protection, renewal, and promise of salvation. And they do everything in their power to show Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai that they love Him and they fear Him. Much love to you, brothers. Shout out to the beautiful Aquaf, the beautiful women that's in the truth. And though it may not be a lot of you women, whether you got a man or not, you still fear the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh. And you listen and you learn in silence to the best of your abilities. Coming back at you with another a lesson through the power and spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. And right now, today's title is um, let's say, false false pastors. Because right now I've been looking on my feed, and they had this guy, or this puppet and slash sellout, some podcast guy named Drewski. He had made fun of a certain pastor of a church, and this pastor was this pastor was on stage, and he was on stage with a Rolls Royce on stage, and these people was praising him and blessing him. And this pastor had on gold. This pastor had on a marvelous suit, and you can tell that there were signs that he was very rich, very prosperous. So, um, as you know, The churches are famous for that because they got the 501(c) tax break pretty much, to where they don't have to pay the government no form of taxes, nothing. They call that I forgot what they call it. It's a proper name for it, but pretty much they live off the donations of the people that attend the church. And wherever the money goes, it goes. And these people right now are beginning to question. Actually, yeah, they are beginning to question it. But this guy was on the I seen a couple of reels of this guy. I don't know his name or whatever, but yeah, he had a Rolls Royce in the background, and he had a beautiful suit on, and gold and jewelry on, and he was up there calling himself preaching the gospel. So what these pastors would do is that they will sign, so we can get that too. um they would sign, with the white men, an agreement to in an agreement to where, as long as they lie and they corrupt the truth, then the government don't care, and they don't want the taxes from. They give them the 501(c), and they don't want the taxes. They don't want none of that. It's just to um um corrupt the minds of our people and keep them poisoned, keep them blind. In exchange, they can get all the riches that they want when these people donate and they give to the church. So let me wait, hold on. I'm forgetting. Wait, 501(c). Dang, I forgot the precept that I was gonna hop on. Damn it. Well, it'll resurface, so I'm gonna just stay right here. But yeah, they over there taking the money from our people in exchange and giving them false blessings, making them false promises. On top of that, they don't even tell them the truth about the Bible and what the Bible is trying to say. And if they come out and they start telling them that, it wouldn't be a surprise that the white man would catch wind of it, and he would face some sort of penalty for it. You got since the old times in slavery, and even before then, you've always had the wolves among the sheep. So we can get that picture real quick too. The wolves among the sheep. These are these house Negroes. These are these loyal servants of the white man, and corrupted the corrupted among our people that will do anything to save themselves. They will betray our people. They would sell them out in exchange for money, gold, in exchange for immunity from punishment. you know they don't have to go homeless. They don't have to starve. They don't have to be poor. And they are under the servitude of the white man. And these guys, it's plenty of versions of these sellouts, like movie stars, athletes, um, even uh, uh, you know, uh, drug lords. Um, what's another version of these people? Rappers, especially rappers. Oh my goodness. Okay, I found it. Those who make a covenant with death. Hold on. Let me get that precept real quick. And these are the guys that's doing that. So, but the Lord, like Yahweh said in his majestic and him all knowing and all seeing, this is what he's saying. This is Isaiah chapter 28, verse 18 through 22. It says, "And your covenant with death shall be disannulled, and your agreement with hell shall not stand." It says, when the overflowing scourge shall pass through, then you shall be trodden down by it. It says, "From the time that it goeth forth, it shall take you. From morning by morning shall it pass over, by day and by night, and it shall be a vexation only to understand the report." It says, "For the bed is shorter than the man, than that a man can stretch himself on it, and the covering narrower that than that he can wrap himself in it." So what it's saying is that I'm gonna get to the earlier precepts, but what it's saying is that these people, they will have to answer Yahweh for what they have done. Because the lost children of Israel, like this picture is showing you, they like sheep. They don't have the mindset. They don't have the smarts. Some sheep can't even deliver themselves when the wolves come to devour them. They can't, and the shepherds are the wolves dressed in sheep's clothing, these false shepherds. And the real shepherd is not around to protect them. So that right there is also a form, the wolf eating the ram that can protect the lesser sheep, because you do have rams that do fight wolves off. And if there's a fight, rams and it's coming to me as rams and guard dogs that do fight off wolves. But you do have some herds that when they get attacked, this metaphor is, we just focus on the metaphor, not the animal activity, but this metaphor is for the actual uh, real prophets that's being consumed by the fake prophets, because these people are rather believing in these false prophets, and then the real prophets is being suppressed, and they're being consumed by these false prophets and these people that are believing lies. So now you got a lot of these fake prophets, and this is the difference between a fake prophet or fake pastor, or a pastor, between a real prophet. The pastor, they are in the temples, that's built with men's hands, and they preach a doctrine of of a false idol, which is the supremacy of white Jesus, which is clearly a false idol. Um, and then you got the street pastors that are on the streets giving people the truth and telling people that what's going on, and letting them know of the times to come, and compelling them to come in and giving them the truth, which is very, very beautiful blessing, and knowing who you are, and knowing who Yahweh is, and knowing the true name of the power of the Son and his Father, no, of the Father and the Son, but there's a saying that people would rather believe a lie than believe the truth. So for some reason, and this is actually due to the division and the prophecy of how Yahweh will receive his chosen, is for some strange reason is discomfort for our people. For those of them that are lost, they don't want to hear that truth. They don't want to hear what what's going on. They don't want to hear it, because the truth comes with change. That's what it is. The truth that they supposed to be hearing come with change, and it comes with cleansing. Because a lot of our people are in habits, or curses, and certain reprobate routines that they don't want to get rid of. So like when you come into the new covenant, you're supposed to clean yourself. You can be a sodomite. You can be a murderer. You can be a, drug addict. You can be a lustful prostitute. You can even be a corrupted pastor. You can be that. When the contract says that Israel shall be forgiven, that's what the new covenant is for. It's for all of Israel's opportunity to be cleansed and to be saved and be forgiven. Even smokers, like, well, drug addicts I fall in that category. Weed smokers, crack addicts, and you got many other people that got different curses and different things upon them, that they, this is a part of their habits and all of that, and this is a part of the healing hurts. It does. It's not lying. When you get a scab or a wound, in order for it, you're going to go through pain. You're going to feel it healing during the process of it being healed, and at some point you're not going to feel it anymore. So that's what the truth is. You go through certain pains in order to be healed. Yeah, but the whole point is to be healed. So hearing the truth, changing your ways, you know, uh, throwing away what you used to believe. That's all a part of the truth that Yahweh Shem Yahushai had had uh had declared to us. So it's a lot of our people that don't want to hear that. They want to keep doing what they doing. And in the Christian doctrine, they say that Yahweh is all love, or Jesus is all love, or Yahweh is all love, because we all know that Yahweh Shai is well, Yahweh Shah is different from the white supremacy Jesus, but they corrupted the Bible. So, the Christianity view says the Lord is all love. He's not all hate. He welcomes all. He accepts all. So, like I said, you can be a sodomite. You can love females can love females. You can be a murderer. You can be a enemy of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Like these other nations that say that they are Christian and Yahweh loves them too. You could be a corrupted pastor. You can be a the well, I'm rambling on, but you can be all those things and still be, and Yahweh will still love you. It says that He loves everybody, and He loves the whole world, but He doesn't love the whole world. In my previous video, I've already explained that. Like He said, He counted the ISOs as a very little thing, and they are less than nothing and worthless. So He doesn't care about the nations. They're just a part of creation, but the Israelites are not a part of creation. They are they are part of the ones that created creation. So they are very separate, very different people. Even before, when Yahweh made the covenant, He knew that those were His people because they were in heaven before they came down to the earth. All of us was, even though all things come from heaven, yeah, we know that, but the Israelites are special because they are angels that came down from heaven to live in the flesh of men. So they are gods, or no, lower gods in the flesh of men. So they're very different, and they're very separate from the world. That's how important they are. And the Lord calls the other nations the beasts of the earth, animals. There are different kinds of creatures in the earth. And like it says in the Bible, the man is a creature. So the Lord looks at them like different animals, like a dog or a monkey. They don't know, they don't know their place. They don't understand, you know, like these other nations. They worship anything. They don't have the correct conduct, but at the same time, the Lord created them like that, so they're in their proper form of nature and what it should be, and they're not cleansed, and they're not holy like Israel is. So they're something vastly different, and their purpose is to serve the gods. That is their purpose. But in their defiance, they worship their own gods. Like I told you, some people worship elephants, some people worship monkeys, some people worship the sky, some people worship the sun, People worship constellations. Some people worship other people. That's what these nations' purposes are. That's what they do. But we being the Israelites and those of us being the elect, we worship Yahweh, the one that created all these things, and we don't worship nothing lowly that's a representation of these elements, these animals, some sort of spirit. We don't worship nothing that's on the ground. We don't worship nothing that's in the sky, like figuratively, like the sun, the moon, the stars, some random comet flying by, other planets that you barely can see. We don't worship all of that. We worship the one who created all this. So that's their purpose. These fake pastors is to deter our people from knowing the truth, to keep that truth hidden, to corrupt their way. You know, and besides, from the street preachers, that actually speak the truth, a lot of people ignore them. And how dumb can you be to ignore the truth and then just walk into a church and then go worship a lie? But it's also a part of that separation of who the Lord wants and who the Lord don't want. Even though He's fair and He's giving them a chance for salvation, 9 times out of 10 they probably won't take it. And when they do decide to take it, it'll be too late. So we can finish reading some of Isaiah, because this is what they have done. They've sold their own people out for money, fame, and fortune. Like I said, with that joke that Red Fox made, he says, give me my, give me my riches, give me all that while I'm on the ground. I don't want no pie in the sky." So these guys have received their consummation on this side, with the millions and with the thousands and all that, with the beautiful houses and the jets, and them escaping poverty, even giving up Yahweh and betraying the Lord to escape this poverty has led them to a corruption and a desperation and godlessness. So now there's a thing with reincarnation. So if you was wicked in your past life, then you'll come in this life and be wicked. If you were a good person in your past life, in this life you will be a good person. Sometimes the spirits and the nature of the spirit doesn't change. That's why a lot of people that be raising their children, or them being raised themselves, you gotta wait for a certain amount of years for a man or a woman to come into their full nature in order to see what they in order to see um what they truly are, to see they true nature. They gotta wait for them to come in their full maturity to see that. And that's why a lot of these parents, a lot of these parents with high expectations, and they be on their kids, and they be on their sons and their daughters, and their whole life is mapped out. They going to school, they go to college, they get careers, and the next thing you know, when their parents are no longer in authority and they have control over their own lives, some of them become corrupted. Some of them become bums. Some of them become murderers. Some of them don't care for the money or the materialism. Some of them become monsters. And it would be aside from what their parents were expecting. You got parents that be like, "Oh, I've done everything in my power, and I've been on my son or my daughter, and I've tried to make them change their lives, and help them change their lives, and they done had good lives." Some of them come from good backgrounds, suburban areas, and all that. Some families, some Israelites managed to have a better status, even though it costs them an arm and a leg to get to where they need to be. And give kids a better life. And a lot of them turn into that. Even the ones that are poor happen to have the same thing. The whole objective is you got to wait for a certain amount of time for you to see the person's true nature, their spirit, and what they really are. You can't just be like, "Oh, he's going to be a good person." No, give it like 20 to 30 years, when they get older, then you'll be able to determine what they are, you know. But as far as I'm concerned with these pastors, you know, for their past lives, that's what they were. They were traitors to the children of Israel, and they were traitors now, like Judas Iscariot. When he betrayed Yahushua knew that he was going to betray him, and he still did it anyway, even though Yahushua already knew that he was a traitor long before. When he met him, he knew he was going to be the traitor, you know? And that was a representation of these false preachers, these false prophets, you know, and they sellouts, you know. You know, you even have false prophets that be on the road and highways and byways, and you hear them preaching all this good stuff, but to the untrained ear, you would be accepting a lot of things and accepting certain things that are just not right, but you don't understand because you're not taught well. And you got to be careful of some of these false prophets too, that be on the highways and byways too, you know, and they'll lead you down the wrong road too, you know. But let me finish this. It says and your covenant with death shall be disannulled, meaning that when this time come and these collapses come, these pastors they not gonna find no protection from these governments. They not gonna get no aid. They're not gonna be evacuated by them. You know, they are actually gonna be left behind during the collapse. And these people are gonna want answers, because instead of them following Yahweh Bashim Shai and Yahweh Shai and the truth, they don't know the truth. They don't even know Yahweh Bashim Shai's name. You know, a lot of these people have truly ignored the gospel. You know, they truly ignore the truth. And then when they realize it, they've been following Jesus, which is the white supremacy, which is the white man. You know, they turns out that they're actually following the pastor themselves. The pastor themselves has become some form of a false idol, you know, and they're gonna want answers. They're gonna want to be saved. They're gonna want them to pull those miracles, real miracles. You know, they're gonna want real healing, like, because of these times that are gonna come into play. They're gonna see a lot of these real preachers and street prophets, and these street prophets, they've already done the work. They've already looked out for them. They've already been helping people, and knowing the truth can just save you, you know. But they're gonna want these pastors to live up to their names, they're being so great, because when they finally start reading the Bible for themselves, they're going to realize who these pastors are. And then on top of that, they're going to expect these pastors to be the true prophets of the Lord, performing acts and wonders and miracles to get them out of the perils that they are about to enter. And when these pastors can't deliver, and when they refuse to help them, or when they try to escape or try to give some sort of explanation, and these people get tired of waiting on that and want them to do something about it, that's when these people are going to realize that they've been duped. And these people that were a blessing is going to become a punishment and a curse onto these pastors. And these pastors are going to be destroyed by the corrupted flock that's looking for answers and looking for salvation. You know, because according to the Christian doctrine that's been counterfeited from the actual Bible, you know, it's a lot of certain things that they expect to happen, you know, that are not going the way it's been planned. You know, so there was supposed to be some sort of antichrist that would rise up and that would stop the whole world from going to war and put the world in a time of peace, you know. And then he would issue out the grain of rice and the mark on the forehead and on the right hand, you know. Or during those times, um the people would be saved the first coming, no, the second coming. The people that were ready, they would just disappear, and their clothes would be left behind. So the Lord took them and stripped them butt naked, and they disappeared in the sky, and all their clothes fell down. They were taken up to heaven with Jesus or whatever, naked. This is what they believe. And they would have to go through the 7 year tribulation. Some of them would, no, and if you don't accept the love of Jesus, then you wouldn't be saved. And Jesus is going to come back and make war with the fallen angels and all of that, and come get the people that finally converted on the third second. There's a third coming, which does not exist in the Bible. There is no third coming. There is no 7 year tribulation. It's not. But this is what they believe. And they actually, like I said in my last studies, they actually think the 7-headed dragon is an actual dragon. You know, they think that the beast is an actual beast when it's talking about a system. It's crazy. And the four beasts of the Bible is actually animals. They think that the locust in the Bible, in the book of Revelation, is some sort of hybrid between a man, and he got a crown on his head with the face of a lion, and he got long hair, and he got the body of a scorpion. When they're talking about jet fighters, plane fighters from World War I and II, these people got the whole thing flipped upside down. And I actually believe this too. I actually believe that too. But instead of them, what's another example? People believing that the angels look like giant eyeballs, and their wings are full of millions and thousands of eyes, when it's actually talking about fleet ships with lights and what lights and all type of war equipment on them. Giant galactic fleet ships like spaceships. You know that you would see in Star Trek or Battle of Galactica. Warhammer, Independence Day. Like I keep saying, those are giant fleet ships with all those eyes. Not no giant angel with two wings and an eyeball. Is getting retarded. They think that the serpent is an actual snake when it's a race of people. They think that the apple is an actual apple that Eve bit, when what she saw, it was something she saw, like it was information that she experienced. They think that is I was on Instagram, and there was a guy that actually thought that Adam and Eve were the first people on the planet. They actually think that. They actually think that when the dust represents people, dust represents people, trees represent families of people. A seed can represent a seed from a man that creates a genealogy. And these people actually think that the Lord is talking about trees in the Bible, actual tree, when he's talking about people. Sometimes there's a duality between the word sea. So he could be talking about water, and then he could be talking about millions and millions of people. Or they think that the great whore that rides the beast is an actual beautiful woman. And it says Mystery of Babylon on top of her head, which is actually decoded to be America on the back of the dragon. But they actually think it's a beautiful woman. They literally think that. This is how corrupted, this is what these pastors did. This is how bad and corrupted the Christian faith really is. And besides that, the word Christian only appears 2 or 3 times in the Bible ever. You've never heard Yahweh Shemi Shai call the Israelites Christians. That was something the Romans were doing during the time when Apostle Paul was around and the prophets were around. They were calling them by a different name, these Christians. And the apostle and them never even responded to that name. They didn't even respond to it, but they agreed with him. I think they didn't agree with him, but they just let him call him whatever they call him. But he told them the truth, like, we not Christians. We are apostles of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, of Yahweh Shai. He told them, they would tell them, but this is the name that they carried, and during the times where the white man was playing with the Bible and rearranging it. So when it was time to start converting people, they would believe that instead of the truth. They were like, yeah, call them Christians, yeah, give them all that, and the dragon, and blame Satan, the angel of Yahweh, make him a fallen angel, you know, get a whole bunch of fallen angels, you know, tell them that. Tell them that when Yahweh created the world, or when God created the world and all of that, Satan refused to bow before man. So, he started some sort of rebellion. He started some sort of war, and he tried to make war with God and Michael, and the fallen angel Satan fought. And then when Satan got beat up, he fell to the earth with other angels that fell with him. Yeah, tell them all that. Tell them all that. Really. And this is the job of the pastors, to brainwash them. So you got people calling the angels by different names: aliens, Martians, the Anunnaki, space people. Like, this is that ridiculous. This is what these prophets or these pastors are doing. And they leading them down the road to damnation. Where is that other picture at? Yeah, right here. Leading them down the road to damnation. So it says, but that's the Christian faith. That's what they actually believe. Oh, another one that really get under my skin is the holidays. The holidays, that's what they get them. When Yahweh condemns these holidays, these Christians worship every single holiday that the Lord condemns. Okay? They talk about they worship Yahweh, and they giving away candy days before Halloween and on Halloween out of the churches. Got a giant Christmas tree in the church. I've seen this. Presents and all that. Passing out presents and all that. Doing the ceremonies in the church. And the church is a group of people. It's not even actually a place. Church means to be called out in the proper vocabulary. And then on top of that, like Yahweh said, I do not dwell in a temple made with men's hands. He's telling you my spirit ain't nowhere near there. But there's Stockholm Syndrome curse. There is trauma in the curse. No, traumatization in a lot of our people. So a lot of our people still got that slave mindset. They are afraid to think outside of the box. They actually think that hell is a place they gonna go, and where Yahweh is gonna abandon them, and they gonna burn. They gonna burn for eternity and never see the light of God. Imagine being in the hellfire, constantly burning and feeling that pain without it ever ceasing. And you die, you reborn again, and then you die, you reborn again, and there's 9 levels to hell. When little do they know, they not talking about hell, they just talking about the interior of the earth, and it ain't no 9 circles. Dante's Inferno doctrine. These is what our people believe in. Things that are made by the white man that are not real. And not well explained at all. It's just something that to get them to fear, so they can be afraid of. They can be afraid. No, get them to fear so they can go to church, and give them the money. Like I said, these holidays is nothing but money grabs. You got the people that's going out going crazy, going to go spend all their money, thousands and thousands of dollars on, validation and materialism and love, you know, and family and all these other things, so they can look good and belong and trend. It's a trend. It's been like that. And these holidays are nothing but pagan holidays, foreign holidays that were forced upon our people during slave trade time and during the takeover of America. During the Atlantic slave trade, during the takeovers of Spain, all of this was forced upon our people after we were taken over. Forced to convert, or we died if we didn't convert. And this is what Christianity has been pushing. This is what these pastors push. And it's just madness. It's madness, man. Like I said, our people are afraid to think outside of the box, to broaden your mind, to set you free. The truth has set you free. So you start thinking about Yahweh Shem Yahushai, not being afraid to do it, rather than being like, oh, he's a false God. If I worship this God, then I'm going to go to hell. That's how I used to think too when I was coming out of Christianity. Like, if I worship that, then doesn't that mean that I'm some sort of that's treason? Doesn't it mean that I'm a traitor? And come to find out, the God that I was worshiping, which is Jesus and God, and God, when you really get down to it, you don't even know his name in Christianity. Like, which God do you worship? Really, it's plenty of gods. It's plenty of things that you call upon when you just be like, oh God. You don't know what's listening to you. You don't know what type of spirit is hearing you, or you giving your praises to the white man. You can be giving your praises to demonic spirits, you know. You don't know what's listening to you when you pray and you call upon just God, and he doesn't have and even the wrong name, and you don't know the correct name could be a serious problem. They can. So you got these wonder why our people be going through all of these problems and destroyed families and corruption and darkness and or are dealing with more and more problems that's coming into the household and not understanding why. It's because you're not calling on the proper name to protect you. Especially for our people, it's critical for you to know Yahweh Shem Shai and his son Yahweh Shai. Is very critical to understand that, to know that, because that's your protection, that's your shield, away from all these other demonic spirits and all these things that you can accidentally call upon when you just saying, oh God, praise God, and then your power go to Jesus, which is white supremacy. Your prayers is going everywhere. And that's what's going to happen to a lot of these people that follow these fake pastors. They're going to realize that the prophets of Yahweh were telling the truth. And then come to find out, they've been abandoned and Yahweh no longer knows them. He takes them for people of the world. And like he said, Israel has become a strange nation. As for them 2/3, you can only imagine realizing this at the last minute when there's no more salvation for you. And you have zero prayers with Yahweh. You have zero prayers. This is when the famine of the word is going to kick in, and the prophets are no longer on the highways and byways, and the living waters dry up, which means the truth stopped springing up, and the Bible finally closed itself off and sealed itself once again, because it's only a limited time where this Bible is decoding itself and giving you all the answers. When the famine of the word kick in, and when these legislations and these wicked laws kick in and they ban the Bible, which is coming, they ain't going to get the truth. So these false pastors, they're going to turn to these false pastors for these answers. And these false pastors didn't study well. They only know the Christian side of the Bible. And they don't have no power to deliver them. And these people are going to flip out. And when some of those people do call and know the true name of Yahweh Shem Shai, it might vary, because the Lord know he's gonna take these people as a strange nation. And then you got some people that just didn't know, or Yahweh Shem Shai deemed to save them. Like, okay, save him. He wasn't that bad of a person. But ultimately, when the famine of word kick in, and if you do not get the word when it's time, like now, when that time comes, the Lord is gonna see your life as forfeit. Like, all right, and it's just, I can't save you. So you can only imagine you having zero prayers with Yahweh, and you've been praying to the wrong thing this entire time. You got to understand how bad that's going to hurt these people, how deep it's going to hurt their psyche. And then you got a lot of people that's been trying to make war with the real prophets on the street. You got a lot of people that's been laughing at them. You got people that's been walking by them. You got people that was ignoring them. You got people that's telling the pastors today, the real pastors, the real street prophets, I don't believe in the Bible. I don't believe in God. Telling them to their face. You got other people that's coming to the prophets talking about, do you believe in the Book of Mormon? Do you believe in the Emerald Tablets? Do you believe in Horus, old Egyptian gods? You believe in Mary. You got a lot of Christians that worship the Mother Mary. You got them worshiping the Mother Mary, talking about Mary didn't need a man in order to conceive Yahweh Shai. when that was a lie. She just couldn't have children. And when Yahweh allowed her to have children, because something was wrong down there, or a curse might have been put down there, or she wasn't able to have kids, when she was able to conceive a child with the prophet, they laid down together. They had Yahweh Shai. They conceived him, and it was a blessing upon her to do that, because back then it was an honor, like it is today. It's an honor to have a child by a man. It's an honor to have that. That's how you know a female truly loves you, is when she bears your child. That's an honor for women, a high esteem honor, even though nowadays it's been corrupted and disregarded. It has, it has. But it's also for women's rights and femininity. So they glorify, they call Mary the Queen of Heaven. That's what they call her. Even though she was the woman that conceived Yahweh Shai and she was his mother, at the end of the day, that's all that she was. She was blessed, but she ain't she's not a god separate from for himself. She's actually a worshiper. But that is another way to corrupt them too. So you got a lot of females that's due to this corrupted nation and the world too, that well, especially in this nation Babylon, they are overprivileged. They got too many rights. They got more privileges and rights, and they have more benefits than the average Israelite man. So they go and they gad about saying that they don't need men, and saying that they don't care about their own men, and doing whatever they want, indulging in whatever they want. There is no proper control. There is no proper protocol. Worshiping whatever they want. And it's a lot of women that worship Christianity, and they numbers double the amount of men that worship Christianity. So you see a lot of women that's pushing it in the churches, a lot of women that's taking places in Christianity and calling themselves prophetess, and preachers and pastors and deacons. This is what they're doing. And like I said, a woman shall learn silence in the congregation of Yahweh. I suffer not a woman to teach. That's not their job. That's a man's job. That's an Israelite brother's job. But this is what they are doing. So I'm going to continue. I'm just giving you a full breakdown of just how bad these pastors are and how bad they've misled them. And they lead them to damnation. They lead them to the real hellfire. And it ain't no underground. It ain't no bottomless pit. They gonna fall into is something much worse. Something that you can feel. Something that you can see. An immense pain, because there's no pain like being in the flesh. It's painful, or it can be painful. So it says, and your covenant with death shall be disannulled, and your agreement with hell shall not stand. When the overflowing skirts shall pass through, then they shall be trodden down by it, because the Lord is going to put the spirit on those followers to attack these pastors and to hunt them down. That's exactly what's going to happen. They're going to be destroying these pastors, and these pastors going to be dying in horrible ways, whether by getting shot up, and they families being slaughtered by these preachers, and them robbing them, going break into their homes during this collapse, and happen to take advantage of their wife and their daughters, and beat their son to death, and then come and beat them to death, and torture them, drag them out into the streets, show telling everybody that this is the pastor that's been lying, this is the man that's betrayed us and made all this money off us. We should destroy him, light him on fire, all kinds of different executions that the Lord got prepared for these guys, man. And they end is going to be horrible and filled with pain. And it's going to be embarrassing. Strip them naked, whip them to death, stone them. You don't think them stonings is going to come back? People going to believe in that. They going to believe in that. And they going to have big rocks waiting. They're going to have some big rocks waiting on these false preachers. They're going to have some big rocks, yo. If they not getting shot up, they're going to find. Because it's not going to be no law. It's not going to be no ambulance. It's not gonna be no police. It's gonna be like the animal kingdom. And you know how animals get down. You know how animals get down when it comes to hunting, when it comes to territory, when it comes to eating food. Lion got to go out there and go find his own food, and he's killing, and killing other animals to survive. And it ain't no police coming in to stop them and being like, "Hold up, you're arrest," to the lion. This is the animal kingdom. Ain't none of that. They either you kill to survive, or you gonna starve and die. You have to kill. And most animals gotta kill to survive. You know. Now, if you some sort of vegetarian animal, then that's different. But a lot of animals are carnivorous. They gotta kill something to survive. That's how society is going to be when it finally collapses. That's gonna be very bad. And these pastors, they're gonna be like, "Where's the miracles at? Where's the powers at? Can you heal my family? Can you take care of them?" Because you're gonna be seeing a lot of these prophets get blessed with powers, and they're gonna be looking at them, and then they're gonna be looking at the pastor like, "Where your powers at?" You know, what can you do? And the pastor like, "Well, if you read them, nah, I don't want to hear nothing about that. What can you do?" You know, well, I can do this and I can do that, and then they're gonna realize that I've been following you for years. It's been passed down to my family to follow you. This has been the culture. This has been my religion. And to come and find out you put us here and you can't save none of us. It's gonna be bad, man. It says, from the time that goeth forth it shall take you, for morning by morning shall it pass over, day by day, no, by day and by night, meaning that it's gonna be some pastors that's gonna be on the run. They gonna be on the run from these people, man. It's gonna be people that's gonna be hunting them. You got some pastors that are world famous. You got pastors that don't even belong a part of the children of Israel that are fooling people. Catholic, Mormon, Islam. This is about to get real. Islam, false Israel, this is about to get real. Even in different religions, worshiping the false god Kali, worshiping Buddha. They gonna hear that in other countries, and they gonna hear about the power of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, and they gonna go hunt those fake pastors down. They gonna go hunt them down. It's gonna be a slaughter fest on the earth, because the Lord is gonna send them spirits on people, them demon spirits on people, and He gonna send His angels on them. Let me get a photo of that. Where is that? Boom. Yep, He gonna go get them demonic spirits, and they gonna go into them and make them do these things. And these spirits is gonna do what they commanded. They are. And they gonna go and they gonna hunt all of the false prophets, all of the fake teachers, all of the idol worshipers. They gonna worship all the false god worshipers, destroy their temples, take out them false teachers, all that. Like I said, these people are gonna hear it from far and wide what Yahweh Shem Yahshai is doing with His chosen and what He's doing to America. And they gonna realize that their gods have been fake the whole time. That they've been duped. They've been hustled. They've been scammed. And that these Buddhists, these monks, these pastors that's in different places like Rome, you know, these worshipers that worship these fake Greek gods like Zeus and Saturn and all of that. None of that exists. None of it exists. And they gonna flip out. They gonna flip out. I'm trying to tell you. And it says the from morning by morning shall it pass over, by day and by night, and it shall be a vexation only to understand the report, meaning that the Bible ain't gonna be around, so you're not gonna be able to break it down. You're not gonna be able to understand what it's saying. You're gonna be desperate for salvation, and it's not going to come to you. People gonna be looking for the word far and wide. They gonna be trying to read their Bibles and understand, and it's not gonna happen. You might run into some prophets, but the prophets is gonna tell you, yo, you already chosen your lot. You're already damned. What's the point of talking to me? You're gonna run into street prophets that used to walk past. Oh yeah, people gonna remember that. Like, damn, I walked past that brother and he was only trying to save me. He was only trying to take care of me. He was only trying to look out for me, and I ignored him. I made fun of him, and I used to walk past him daily. And he would always tell me, do you believe in the Bible? Do you know that you the chosen children of Israel? You know Yahweh Shem Yahushai, in the name Yahushai, you know Yahushai, you know the true name of your God and Messiah? Or do you want to be a part of the new covenant? Do you want to be saved? You see the things that's going on around you? Do you understand the signs? This is what these prophets is telling you. And you walk past them every day. Go buy a burrito. Go get your next bag of weed. Drive past in your Rolls Royce right past them. And they was your salvation. That was the real gold. Like I said, what it say in the Bible? All you need is a penny to get into heaven. Let me get that precept real quick and then bounce back to that one. Right here. This is Matthew chapter 20, verse 1 through 16. It says, "For the kingdom of heaven is is like unto a man that is a householder, which went out early in the morning to hire laborers unto his vineyard. And when he had agreed with the laborers for a penny a day, he sent them into the vineyard." Wait, is this the one? "And went out about the third hour and saw others standing idle in the marketplace. It says, and said to them, Go ye also into the vineyard." Wait, let me make sure that this is it. Wait, let me see. This might not be. It was one that was. Wait, this was it. This was it. This was it. It says, "For the kingdom of heaven is like unto a man that is a householder, which went out early in the morning to hire laborers into his vineyard. And when he had agreed with the laborers for a penny a day, he sent them into his vineyard. And when he went out the third hour, he saw others standing idle in the marketplace, and said unto them, Go you also into the vineyard, and whatsoever is right I will give you. And they went their way. Again, he went out in about the sixth and ninth hour, and did likewise. And about the 11th hour he went out, and found others standing idle, and said unto them, Why stand you here all day idle? They say unto him, Because no man has hired us. He saith unto them, Go ye also into the vineyard, and whatsoever is right, that you shall receive. So when even was come, Yahweh of the vineyard said unto no, the Lord of the vineyard said unto his steward, Call the laborers and give them their hire, beginning from the last unto the first. And when they came that were hired about the 11th hour, they received every man a penny. It says, but when the first came, they supposed that they should have received more, and likewise every man received a penny. So this is these fake pastors. They realized preaching the doctrine in this white supremacy world would benefit them no money. They would be broke. And they realized the truth about the Bible is that you can make millions off the Bible. The Bible is a brick of gold. That's really it is. It can cause you to sway the minds of the people. It cause the people to think a certain way, to act a certain way, because that's how powerful the Bible is. It can lead you to a lie, or it can lead you to the truth, even though it's designed to lead you to the truth. But you know, like I said, the earth was given into the hands of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? So the white man corrupted the way of the word and had you follow a lie. Which at some point, when it comes to the Bible, you're supposed to reach a certain maturity about the Bible. You're supposed to grow up. So being in a Christian doctrine, being in a false doctrine, worshiping a false God is a sign of immaturity, because you didn't even do anything to get it. You didn't even try to go and find the truth. You didn't even try to question anything. Let me read this and then I can give you my own little story. It says, but this is what's happening. These pastors are not satisfied with the tithings, the small tithings. Some give 25. No, sorry. Some give $30. Some give $3. Some give $2. This is what the prophets, a real prophet, is living by. He's living by his congregation that's taking care of him, rehearsing the righteous acts as he should. Some of these prophets of the new covenant are really like that. Well, all of the prophets of the new covenant are really like that. They or some of them, they live normal lives and they give the people a choice, and some of them don't want. People like me, I don't want no tithings from nobody. I've been taken care of. You know, I help is a certain prophet that I know of that I help, and I give him tithings because he needs it. He's really out there rehearsing the righteous acts. He's really doing this. So he needs support, and we support others like that. It's like I said, love thy neighbor, which is your brother, not another person from a strange nation. No, he's talking about that's another corruption, because it says, doesn't it say love thy neighbor? No, it transfers to your brother. It doesn't transfer to other people. It says love your brother, love your people, not other nations, you know? But that's a whole nother thing in itself. But still, it's a part of the Christianity corruption. But I love you, brother, and aren't we all in the truth, brother? That's how the white man get him, confuse him, play on their compassion, play on their generosity, because Israel isn't racist. They not racist. Black people are not racist. They love everybody. I used to be like that too. They love everybody. They do. We are not racist. But living in a messed up world, living in a white supremacy world, and we encounter racism. We encounter it. And then we realize our place in the world. And then we grow up to understand this white supremacy and just how bad it is. And we experiencing racism at a high level. Then we become segregated ourselves. Not only because of where we belong, because of our protection. Because we know that these racist people don't care about us. So we need to be against them. And we become racist too, but not in a bad way, but in a way to protect ourselves and to draw the line. We have to go against our enemies because they only mean our destruction, for those of us that know the truth. But like I said, you got to mature. You got to grow up, man. You got to grow up. And part of your maturity is you thinking outside the box. You looking for the right help. You studying. You understanding the Bible. You understanding the truth. That's a part of maturity. That's what makes a man, to understand the truth and to see the world for what it is. Not sitting up here hiding. Like it says, lean not on men for understanding. Following men, you know, idolizing them when they could care less about you. People that'll step all over you because they got validation from other people. They're given status in the world. They're prospering. They're better than you. So you glorify them, hoping that they could put you on their level, and you follow them, hoping in that you have some sense of belonging. And you don't. You don't. You'll be treated as a loser. You'll be used. You'll be called a simp. Oh, he's too nice. Oh, he's weak. Oh, he's generous. Oh, we gonna take advantage of him. And when I'm done with him, I'm just gonna throw him to the side. I don't care about him. Just get whatever I can out of him. That's really how it is. Very predatory, you know, very victim mindset. That's how it is with this Christianity in this wicked world. That's the truth. So let me finish this. It says, it says, but back on the topic, like I said, these pastors, they don't deal with little pennies. They dealing with millions of dollars. They dealing with gold. They dealing with expensive things. These donations, they be big donations that'll be given to these churches by our own people. And it's our people, and it's sad because our people that are blind, they will give up their last. They will give up their last. And then sometimes these people are people being so much corruption to the point to where it'd be like, well, the money goes where it goes. You know, I just tithe, I just do what I'm told. And the money is going to some overweight pastor's pockets to put his son through college and to take him on a trip to Japan. Taking him and his wife on a trip to Japan and preparing to go to Russia for the winter, you know, getting him passports and him buying the finest Rolex and Rolex watches, Rolex chains. He got a grill in his mouth. He got gold teeth in his mouth. He got a Ferrari and a McLaren sitting in his parking lot of his $10 million estate that's hidden somewhere in California in the mountains. He got servants in his house. Like, you got I'm sorry, man. This is the truth, man. This is what these pastors doing. Like I said, a person that come up there and give their last, I've seen it. When I was still in Christianity and I was a kid, I've seen it. My granny Doretha giving me $20 on certain days when she had it, giving $5 to my sister, you know, a couple of dollars to my little brother, tell him put it in the pot. And she'll probably put like what 20, 25, $50 in the pot. Nigga, on days when she didn't have it, she would have like $4 or $5 to us each, and then a pile of change, put it right in the pot, because she didn't want to feel embarrassed about the fact of how she cannot contribute to her own congregation. And during that time, she was I think she was a minister. Yeah, she was a minister. She was a minister or so. And she would tithe to these people every day. Tithe to them every day. And I wouldn't understand that because, like I said, you got to mature. When you mature in the truth, you wake up. You stop being in sleep. So she during that time, she was like 50 years, like 40, 49, 50 years old, and still ain't woke up. Like, still don't accept the truth. Out there preaching a false doctrine, out there preaching that Christianity and traveling from church to church to do it. And on top of that, she's still paying her rent through a program and all that. You know, she got little benefits, whatever, or retirement or whatever. And she don't get nothing in return. Some of these pastors are so blind in faith, they don't get nothing in return. They don't receive the tithings. You know, they don't get nothing in return. Some of them are just regular people, and then you got some of them that took it further. Them pastors that took it further, and they making thousands. Hell, I done seen church hoppers. I done seen pastors go from church to church to make their money. I done seen one pastor. He said, "Oh, I run 3 churches," you know, and I went to go finally see his church. I went to go be there, and then 2 3 days later, he was like, "Yeah, we got some new recruits, we got some new followers. You know, we got to have them signed up. We got to get them to contribute. You know, pretty much we got to pay." And my homegirl was like, "Yeah, you got to meet him. You know, I'm trying to meet him." And when I tried to meet him, he shook my hand and he was like, "Yeah, but I'm gonna see y'all next weekend. I gotta go to the next church." He jumped to the next church. He going just like that. He just got my name. That was it. He didn't want to get to know me. He didn't care. He wanted to see if I was gonna give him some money, you know. And he went to the next church and he went to the next church to see what they can put in the pot for him, see how he can come up. And he corrupted pastor with dreads, corrupted black dude with dreads. He didn't care about none of that. Oh my goodness. Y'all not understanding how deep this wickedness is, this deception is, you know. And he was young too. He wasn't no old pastor. He was young. Like I'm just gonna hustle these people, you know. Just forget about them. It's all about me and my prosperity. So, like I said, these pastors, they don't deal with little money. They deal with big money. And the real prophets, they get little to nothing. They barely getting people to tie to them. They're not trying to get rich off it. They just trying to live, because they done devoted their entire life to Yahweh's purpose. They done gave it all to him. And the Lord is taking care of them. Like Yahweh said, like, don't I feed the birds? Aren't I going to feed you like I feed the birds? You know, give them their food, give the lion his prey. I'm going to take care of you. So it says, and when they had received it, they murmured. It says, but when the first came, they supposed that they should receive more, and likewise received every man a penny. It says, and when they had received it, they murmured against the good man of the house. So when they got the real word, they got the real message, they received it as worthless because they couldn't make no money off of it. In a world full of lies, when you start telling the truth, people start leaving you alone. They don't accept it. Like whole crowds. And all you got is a few people that do accept it. That's how the word is. That's how Yahweh is. That's how the elect are. You got all these people walking away when you start preaching the truth. And you got very few people that stay and listen, you know? So it says, and when they had received it, they murmured against the good man of the house, saying, least, it says, these last have wrought but 1 hour. It says, and thou hast made them equal unto us, which have borne the burden in the heat of the day. And this is the prophets that's on the highways and byways, compared to also the prophets that's on the highways and byways, compared to the pastors, because you got some rich prophets out there. Oh yeah. You got some fake rich prophets that profit in the name of Yahweh, or they profit in the false names of Yahuwah, or let's just stay with Yahweh. They profit in his name, they preach in his name, and they making millions. Whole congregations, whole networks, making gang of money, making a lot of money off YouTube and other platforms. You know, Sakari, ICOIC, rumor has it even GMS, Great Millstone. They network and they making money off the people, so they can have their cars. You know, they get their cars fixed. They got their apartment already paid for. You feel me? They congregations is getting set up. The real prophets can't even afford to do half of the things that they supposed to be doing, like the Passover, you know, like the Pentecost, like the Holy Feast. You got a lot of these pastors, these prophets that are in the truth, that are not chosen, that's doing all of this, all of it. They call them Sadducees and Pharisees, and some of them even pose to be, you know, a lot of prophets even pose to be like bums, and they got thousands. And then you got other prophets that are not afraid, that are corrupted, and they got gold on their garments. You know, they got gold chains on. You know, they got gold rings on. They got I come outside when I preach. I come outside, and all I got is a raggedy garment. It's not even considered to be a garment. It's raggedy and it's short like a shirt because I was afraid to wear the dress like garment, you know, and it's raggedy. And I come out there with my little tablet, my little Bible, and I stand there and I do what I can to help. And in times when people was trying to give me money, I refused it because I didn't desire the money. I just wanted to help, you know. And still, I wasn't ready back then, but I'm ready now. But I wasn't. I just wanted to help. Same thing as now. But as for them, yeah, you got some prophets that's in the wrong side of the truth that's making millions, making thousands, networking, making money off YouTube, sharing followers. It's crazy, man. So it says, that's why I follow the pastors. They are pastors, pastors of the new covenant, the prophets of the new covenant, because them the only ones I see doing it right, and it's not a lot of them. So it says, but he answered one of them and said, Friend, I do thee no wrong. It says, did not thou agree with me for a penny? It says, Take that thine is, and go thy way. I will give unto you this last, even as unto thee. It says, Is it not lawful for me to do what I will with my own? And then thy eyes evil, because I am good. It says, So the last shall be first, and the first shall be last. For many be called, and but few chosen. Right? It's the since that mixture is happening, like the oil and the that mixture is happening with the false prophets and of Yahweh Shem Shai and the real prophets. The real prophets have been numbered, has dwindled. It's not a lot of real prophets, especially the ones that are in the new covenant. Mainly them. It's not a lot of them preaching the new covenant, preaching the promise of being absolved as long as you covered in the blood of Yahweh Shai and being blessed. You got the other prophets saying we not in the new covenant, and they pretty much tethering people to the old laws. You know, and the old covenant is equal to death because we not perfect enough to follow it. You know, and you got the other new prophets. I mean not the new prophets, the new covenant prophets that's telling us that we can be blessed and we can be absolved of our sins if we walk into the new covenant, and do the best that you can. You know, do the best that you can. You're not perfect. So how in the hell are you gonna follow over 600 laws and you're not perfect? And then even if you do, you pretty much saying that you can take salvation for yourself and you can skip Yahweh Shai, because like the Lord, like Yahweh Shai say, I'm the way. You can't get to the Father unless you go through me. So with them, with the false prophets, which are compared to the false pastors too, but they just know the true name of Yahweh. They know His name. So with them, that's what they're pretty much doing. You know, they're telling people there is no new covenant just yet. That comes when the kingdom come. When the kingdom already came. You know, Yahweh Shai was a part of that kingdom, and he was preaching a new covenant before his passion. You know, so with that being said, you know, we can have salvation and we can be blessed and covered and protected when these dark times roll in, you know. Besides the people that's calling themselves abiding by the law, saying I abided by the law and I did it perfectly and I deserve my blessings. I deserve to be protected without the blood of Yahweh Shai covering me. I could do that. You can't do that. Like, that's why I was like, when I heard the new covenant, I'm like, you know what? That makes sense. And there is a Bible precept like that. It does say that I will establish a new covenant, a new promise. Yeah, a contract renewed for the children of Israel. But like I said, many are called, but few are chosen. It's not a lot of people like you thought that was in the new covenant. Probably a couple of thousands, not a lot, compared to the millions that just believe that they're Israelite without really going in depth. You know, you still full of sin. When you in the new covenant, you're not putting sin. You cleaned of sin. You know, because you covered in the blood of Yahweh Shai. That was his passion. That was the whole point of why he came on this earth and passed away. Why he died. He died for the elect. He died for those of them that would accept that new covenant. You know, accept him. He is the new covenant. So it says, but It says, and Yahushua going up to Jerusalem took the 12 disciples apart in way and said unto them, Behold, we go up to Jerusalem, and the Son of Man shall be betrayed unto the chief priests and unto the scribes, and they shall condemn him to death, which did happen, and shall deliver him to the Gentiles to mock. I mean, that was the 2/3. He not just talking about the white people in Rome. He talking about the black people, the Gentiles that were in Rome too. They thought they were Gentiles, but these were the 2/3 Israelites that mocked Yahweh. I mean Yahweh Shai. It says, and to scourge and to crucify him, and the third day he shall rise again. It says, then came to him the mother of Zebedee's children with her sons, worshiping him, desiring a certain thing of him. And he said unto her, What wilt thou? She saith unto him, Grant these my two sons may sit, the one on the right hand and the one on the left, in thy kingdom. But Yahushua answered and said, You don't know what you ask for. Are you able to drink the cup that I shall drink of, and to be baptized with the baptism I am baptized with? They say unto him, We are able. It says, and he saith unto them, You shall drink indeed of my cup, and be baptized with the baptism that I am baptized with. But to sit on my right hand and on my left is not mine to give, but it shall be given to them who is prepared of my Father. It says, and when the 10 heard it, they were moved with the indignation against the two brethren. It says, but Yahushua called unto them and said, You know that the princes of the Gentiles exercise dominion over them, and that they are great exercise. There are great exercise authority upon them. But it shall not be among you. It says, but whosoever will be great among you, let him be your minister. It says, and whosoever will be chief among you, let him be your servant. Even as the Son of Man came, not to be ministered unto, but to minister, and to give his life a ransom for many. That's the new covenant. It says, and as they departed from Jericho, a great multitude followed him. And it says, and behold, two blind men sitting by the wayside. When they heard that Yahushua passed by, they cried, saying, Have mercy on us, O Yahweh, O Lord, the Son of David. It says, and the multitude rebuked them, but because they should hold their peace. But they cried more, saying, Have mercy on us, O Yahweh, thou Son of David. And Yahushua stood still and called them and said, What will ye that I should do unto you? They said unto Yahweh, Open. Yahushua says that our eyes may be open. So Yahushua had compassion on them and touched their eyes, and immediately they received their sight and they followed him. So that right there is another explanation of spiritual power. He had the spiritual power, he had the sight, he had everything. Yahushua was healing people. And this was actually triggering the collapse of the false churches. And the Sadducees and Pharisees were losing money. And that's them fake pastors. They were losing money because Yahushua was doing all of these miracles and healing all of their people, all of his people. And then on top of that, you had a lot of people that wasn't a part of the children of Israel that knew that he was the Messiah. He knew. They knew. They knew. And they respected that fact, you know? Like that one passage where the woman had came to be blessed, and he said it's not wise to feed the dogs. Hang on. Let me see. Uh, oops. Where am I? This is Matthew chapter 15, verse 1, and I'm about to close out. It's been a long ride, but that had to come out with the fake prophets and what's going to happen to them. Or we can get Revelation after this and then close out. Matthew chapter 15, let me see. Verse 21 on down. It says, tell me it froze. Oh, it didn't freeze. And it says, get another picture up in there. Oh man, I'm gonna explain this picture afterwards. In a minute. I'm gonna explain it in a minute. This is funny. This picture is very funny. Um, it says, these things which wait, it says 21 of Matthew chapter 15, verse 21. It says, Then Yahushua went thence and departed unto the coast of Tyre and Sidon. It says, And behold, a woman of Canaan came out of the same coast and cried unto him, saying, Have mercy upon me, O Yahweh, this Yahushua, the son of David. My daughter is grievously vexed with a devil, demonically possessed. It says, but he answered her not a word. And his disciples came and besought him, saying, Send her away, for she crieth after us. But he answered and said, I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Because this woman was, I do believe she was Roman. She was Roman, she was white. And she was looking for help from him. But his purpose was to Israel, not to the rest of the world, or not to the people who oppressed him. Because during that time, you still had the hierarchy of the white people, and you had the low class, the low archy of the white people. They were still poor in their own society that was built to be over a people. They were still poor. So it says, then then came she and worshipped him, saying, Lord, help me. But he answered and said, It is not meet to take the children's bread and cast it to the dogs. Because he doesn't view them as, it doesn't matter if they're beautiful, they're masculine. It doesn't matter if they're rich. It doesn't matter. He doesn't view the nations as regular humans. Like, no, I mean, he doesn't view them as like holy or something like that. Like I said, he views them as animals. He views them as primitive compared to the children of Israel, So that's why he said that. He answered and said, It is not meet to take the children's bread and cast it to the dogs. So that's another thing. That's what them pastors do. They it's all walks of life that worship the Bible, and they worship Christianity, and they feel like God loves them all. So not only is these pastors making money off our people, they're making money off everybody else too. They're making money off the people's faith and the people's belief that they would be saved. And it doesn't matter if they sodomites, doesn't matter if they other nations that are enemies to Yahweh. It doesn't matter if the women are overprivileged and corrupted. It doesn't matter. If they racist, they can still believe in the Bible. The Bible condemns all of that. It condemns the nations. It only takes the children of Israel, and they have to throw away their ways. So if they will preach the truth, and instead of the false doctrine, these pastors wouldn't be making the money to sustain their lavish lifestyles anymore. They would go broke, because people don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that. People attack them, which is going to happen anyway, but they would go broke if they don't preach this Christianity. They would be questioned, you know. People gonna walk away, and they're gonna stop giving their money to the church and stop putting money in the pastor's wallet. So, as ashamed as they are addicted to their lifestyles. They're addicted to the money. They addicted to the food, the best seats in the house. You know, they just addicted to greed and corruption. So they preach to all peoples that they all belong, and they don't. When Yahushua clearly states that they don't. But like I said, they wouldn't make no money. Like I said, the real pastors of the new covenant, they don't have a lot of followers. They just don't. We don't have a lot of followers. You know, there's people that don't want to listen. I get on my reel, I post a reel, and a reel can get 130 people that looked at it and they listened to it. And then on my video, when I post the video, I got barely one, because don't nobody want to hear it. They don't care about it. Some people, and then at the same time, the Bible condemns a lot of the other nations. Now, I was preaching of Jesus and how he loved everybody and all that, and preaching a Christianity doctrine. People would listen. They would be like, "Oh, that's positive. Oh, I agree with you too. Oh, we should meet up together." I would have all kind of conversations. Females would be getting at me and all of that. "Oh, where are you? We should have a spiritual group chat and all that. We should all get together." But because I'm telling the truth, don't nobody want to hear that. They don't care about that, man. So it says, and she said, "Truth, Yahweh, yet the dogs eat of the crumbs which fall from the master's table." It says, then Yahweh answered unto her, said, "O woman, great is thy faith, but it unto thee even as thou wilt." It says, and her daughter was made whole from that very hour, because it also shows you that it's a lot of white people that believe in Yahweh Bashim Shai too. In the name of Yahweh, it's a lot of people that's believing the truth. They hearing the truth and they believe in the truth, and they accept and they roll. They know what they've done to the children of Israel, how they put them in slavery and slaughtered them, and how their descendants burned them alive and hanged them and beat them to death, dismembered them, cooked them, ate them, raped them, raped the men, raped the woman, raped the child. They know that the land was stolen. They took all the gold, they took the royalty, they diseased the people. They forced pagan holidays on them. They forced the Christianity on them. They put their hands on the Bible and remixed it. It's a lot of these Edomites that understand that and accept their fate. And they know that they're going into slavery. They know that, and it's a lot of them that believe in Yahweh wholeheartedly. They believe in him, and it's a lot of them that's going to have favor and servitude. They're gonna be servants. They're gonna be handmaids. They're gonna be certain Edomites not gonna see that type of harm compared to the ones that's gonna get they just do. It's a lot of them that's gonna but they're gonna go into slavery and fulfill their purpose. And all of them together gonna accept they punishment, which is the punishment by burned in a fire, which is this perfect depiction of what you're looking at now. This is the depiction of what's going to happen to them after they fall. They're going into slavery, and those demons are actually the Israelites. Those are the Israelites that's going to be torturing them for the 1,000 years, and they're going to be in slavery, and they're going to be even though it's levels to it. Like I said, you're going to have servitudes. You're going to have servants in the houses compared to the slaves that's out in the fields working, and that's out in the barns and living in pits and all that, and living in the slave houses and storage rooms like live cattle, like stock. It's gonna really be like that, like we were. He that lead in captivity must go into captivity. That's true. He that lived by the sword must die by the sword. It's all true. And in the end times, this is what's gonna happen to them, and they're gonna be tortured, and it's gonna be hell on earth for them for the 1,000 years, and it's gonna be the worst slavery for the Edomites. It's going to be terrible. And this is the actual depiction of that. But they made it look like them going to hell, and they happen to meet the devil when and they believe, and they corrupted belief the devil is actually Yahweh and his angels are the demons. The Israelites are the demons. So they actually are convinced that the Israelites are not only that the Israelites are them, but at the same time, Yahweh is the devil. Light and darkness is remix. You got light and darkness, and you got darkness and light. It's all remixed. The darkness is the light is the darkness. You get it? It's all remixed. To confuse you, but this is the true depiction of what the Bible is trying to say with the lake of fire and all of that, the nuclear day, you know, the World War III, and when these white people are defeated, this is the perfect example. This is perfect right here of what's gonna happen when the Israelites get their hands on them, and all the lies and all the things that they told them, and how these Edomites gonna be begging to Yahweh if they know him for forgiveness and for help, and they still gonna get the hammer. It's gonna be bad because they're the reason for all of this trouble. It literally is. In these portraits, they tell the truth. There you go, another one. Whoever drew this knew the truth. Whoever drew this knew the truth. Those ain't demons. Those are Israelites. Those are angels. There go your angels. They don't look all ugly like that. They made them look like the enemies. But that's them, and that's what they're gonna do to the Edomites when the time comes. They're gonna be taking their souls and descent to darkness and madness and weeping and gnashing of teeth and the brimstone of fire and poverty and shame and outcast and destruction and great horrors await them when their empire fall. That's why they fighting tooth and nail right now. Some of them accept their fate. Some of them is gonna they gonna die in denial. You know, this is how bad the Lord want them, and He put this on the Edomite's mind to paint this. But this is the truth. This is what's going to happen. This, they just made them. They just made the Israelites look like the bad guys when they actually the good guys that deserve their revenge. They vengeance. They deserve it. But I digress. So let me get one more precept and then I'm out. It's damn near 2 hours. But I had to get on them pastors, man. Pastors is just they wildin', man. But they gonna get they just due. Let's finish it up then. We back in Isaiah, so we can finish this whole thing and then close out. It says, "And for your covenant with death," Isaiah 28, verse 18, "and your covenant with death shall be disannulled, and your agreement with hell shall not stand. And when the overflowing scourge shall pass through, then you shall be trodden down by it. From the time that it goeth forth, it shall take you." It says, "And for morning by morning it shall pass over, by day and by night, and it shall be a vexation only to understand the report." Right? You're not even gonna know because you didn't you didn't even read the Bible. These pastors didn't even read the Bible. They just quoted scripture. Some of them don't even study. You got some of them that do know the truth and still do wicked, but you got some of them that don't even study. They just in it for the money. They don't even know what's going on. They don't even know what's about to happen to them. It says, "For the bed is shorter than the man that can stretch himself on it, and the covering is narrower than that he can wrap himself in it." That's right. Ain't no comfort in these lies. And the lies are more uncomfortable than the truth. It's true. "For Yahweh shall rise up as in Mount Perazim. He shall be wroth at the valley of Gibeon, that he may do his work, his strange work, and bring to pass his act, his strange act. Strange act, right? Because the Lord, there's gonna be a lot of stuff that's going down that's gonna blur the lines between reality and the supernatural, from this world to the next world. Like it says, one realm against another. The kingdom of heaven is gonna meet with the physical realm, with the earth realm, and they're gonna converge, and it's gonna blur the lines between what's reality, what you think is reality, and what's not. That's the veil that the Lord is talking about. Like revelation mean the time of revealance, the removal of that veil. Like how when the collapse come, you're gonna really see just how bad America is. You're gonna see the damages. You're gonna see the infirmaries. You're gonna see the injury. You're gonna see the darkness. You're gonna see what they was trying to hold back. You're gonna see all of that. You're gonna see the ugliness for what it is, like you are now. And like I said, it's gonna get real strange. You're gonna be seeing demonic spirits probably going into people. You're gonna be seeing people become monsters. You're gonna be seeing a lot of mass death. You're gonna be seeing a lot of mass plagues. Like I had a dream where I was seeing animals where they shouldn't be at. You know, you're gonna be seeing all kinds of wars, all kinds of gunfights. Women getting taken advantage of during times of why people killing each other, women getting taken advantage of and getting raped and hurt, and while people at war and dead bodies around them, because men feel like they can do whatever they want. You know, you're gonna have all types of imaginations that you can't even fathom happening. Like they said, World War III is gonna be the worst time. It's gonna be bad if you're not in the new covenant and you're not protected. You're going to go through a lot. But because of what these Edomites have done, this is going to be their reward. This picture is a good explanation. Very good explanation of their reward when all of this is said and done. So, with that, calling Yahweh by Shem Shai and the name Shai, I'm going to upload this. And with that, I'll just see you guys tomorrow because I got to go out in the highways and byways and do my thing. Much love to anybody, to any of the children of Israel that are listening to this broadcast. And see you on the next one.